Hello all. Today I'm taking a look at some Macintosh ADB mice that I got recently in a lot of things. There were 4 computers, a monitor, and a whole bunch of cables, 2 keyboards, and some Macintosh ADB mice. I'm hoping to cover these in a video in the near future. There were 4 mice, this original Apple Desktop Bus mouse, and these Apple Desktop Bus mouse 2. I've been on the lookout for more original Apple Desktop Bus mice to pair with some older systems, but this lot only had one, and it seems like this one is broken actually. The button seems to be permanently depressed, and there's no real click. I mean, there's a click of sorts, but it's not actually clicking down in the switch. And yeah, we can see there that this one is made in Ireland. If you've been around these Apple Desktop mice, you've seen that some are made in Ireland and some are made in Malaysia, the later ones, but this one is made in Ireland, and of course they came in 1986 with the Apple GS. You have the 4 screws that screws for easy access underneath. I rather have the visible screws and to be able to take it apart easily than looking for where to open. And we can take out the ball inside, and as you can see, there is the button that is supposed to press on this little switch here, that red switch, and it's actually, as you can see, it's depressed down, and it's supposed to sort of come up and click when you press it, but yeah, there's definitely something wrong inside the switch there. So I'm going to see if we can take a closer look at that. I think the cable on some of these are attached like this in a little connector, but sometimes it's soldered straight onto the PCB. But there are loads of different components there on this PCB, and yeah, there you can see it, that red switch, and it's really tiny, so I'm going to have to open that up. It's soldered in with 3 legs, so it wouldn't be too hard to remove it, I guess, if I had to, but yeah. This is how yellowed it is. Not too yellowed, I mean, I've seen worse, but if you compare with the inside and the back, you can really see that even this one is yellowed. It has a little clip there on the side, and on the back as well. There's the model number of the switch, and yeah, I just need to unclip these. And here we are. This is inside of the switch, and this is how it looks. You have 2 metal parts there on the side, and then the parts that connect to these is the little brass thing, a aluminum looking thin piece of metal, and as you can see, it's actually broken. So this is the issue, it doesn't spring as it should. I made a few attempts to fix this tiny part. I tried soldering it without success to start with. I guess the solder won't stick to this type of metal. I also tried gluing it with super glue and a little metal support, but that didn't work either, and neither did taping it, since the tape obstructed the hole there in the middle. I'm not sure any of these would have held for any length of time anyway. So the 4th idea was to try to use components from these mice, since I had many of them, and I was really looking for the original ADB mouse, and so I decided to go for this really yellowed one, and see if we could use the components or the switch inside of this one. And yeah, this one, as you can see, has hidden screws underneath the little plastic there on the back, and I'm trying to sort of not ruin the plastic and to be able to put it back again, but yeah, I mean, it does get a little bit creased. And there it comes apart, and wow, you can see how light colored it is on the inside compared to the outside. It's terribly yellowed. And yeah, much less components in this, and the switch there, it's actually much bigger. You see, I can't use that switch. It's much bigger than in the original ADB mouse. And I'm also surprised that the number of components is so reduced. Now that we just have that one chip, whereas on the old original ADB mouse here, there are loads of little components. And yeah, quite a simplified construction. Of course, this comes out, and this mouse also has 4 screws, so there are 2 that we took out, and then there are 2 inside that hold this trackball assembly in place. Well, it holds the whole PCB actually, but the trackball assembly is on top. And yeah, looking underneath, we can see there are actually some components there underneath this one that I don't think we have under the other one. No components on the other side of that one, but yeah, still a big difference there between the new and the old, the newer and the old ADB mouse. And this cable is soldered to the PCB. This was dirty as well, just very filthy looking, but this does have a nice click to it, and it is working. But yeah, just comparing them like this, you can see the holes there on the side of the switches. This one is enormous compared to the small one on the old ADB mouse. So this is the part number D2F01LG, and I managed to find this switch, or at least something very similar with the same sort of dimensions online on AliExpress, and I ordered one. So yeah, so how I have to fix it in the future. And we see this board, the old ADB mouse, is actually Logitech there up in the left, to the left, a Logitech revision 8, whereas the newer one is Mitsumi. I've noticed that the ADB mice come with many subtle differences. Here the older trackball weighs only 7 grams. The newer clearly has a metal center and weighs 31 grams. As you can see here, the mouse was super yellowed, and since I wanted to use it for parts, I decided to try to retrobright it for fun. Here we have it in the window together with another part that I decided to, an electrical socket that I decided to try to retrobright at the same time. And yeah, this is how it looked after. It's actually the bottom new ADB mouse, bottom one, and yeah, the result was pretty great, I'd say. And I also had this old Amiga tank mouse, and it wasn't terribly yellowed, but as you can see, there is a difference between the top and the bottom, and I decided to have a go with that one as well. And I also retrobrighted the old ADB mouse there, as you can see. And I'm using this hydrogen peroxide 12% cream and some cling film, and just spread it out, and I leave it in the sun for 4 hours on the windowsill there, as you saw. And yeah, the result is pretty great. So this is the Amiga mouse. Now you can see that it's got pretty uniform color on the top and the bottom. And here is the old ADB mouse. To the left there, it's really light gray. It looks almost white, but here on top of the on top of a Performa 400 that is a bit unevenly yellowed, you can see that it actually is the original very light gray color there that we managed to come back to with the Retrobright. But yeah, so I'm waiting for the switch, as you can see on the button here, to arrive from China, and then I'll hopefully be able to put this together and have another working older ADB mouse that will be looking great. Well, I was a bit reluctant to try the cream peroxide, but the result on these 3 mice is great. I hope the new switch I sent for will work nicely with the original ADB mouse, so I can pair it up with one of my old systems. The contrast to the untreated mice there is pretty big. I'll be sure to retrobright those too. Now I may even have the courage to retrobright this precious mouse for my Macintosh Plus that needs some love. This one actually works with the Apple IIc as well. But that's it for this video. If you've enjoyed it, I'd appreciate if you hit that like button. And if you'd like more retro computing coming your way, do consider subscribing to the channel. Take care and thank you for watching.